The spike approach is all about rhythm, balance, and timing. A good approach helps the player build speed, stay under control, and convert forward momentum into a powerful jump. The shoulders should stay slightly in front of the hips to keep the body moving forward. At the same time, the arm swing plays an important role in supporting the jump and preparing for the attack. The goal of the approach is not just to move to the ball, but to arrive in balance, jump explosively, and create the best position to attack with power and control. For right-handed players, the approach usually starts with a small step with the left foot, then a bigger step with the right foot, and finally a closing step with the left foot. For left-handed players, this happens in the opposite order: a small step with the right foot, then a bigger step with the left foot, and finally a closing step with the right foot. The last step is the breaking step, which helps turn forward speed into height. The final two steps should always move toward the ball. During the approach, the arms move back naturally, then swing down and powerfully upward to help with lift and attacking rhythm. When coaching this movement, there are a few important things to watch for. First, look at the rhythm of the steps. The approach should be smooth and progressive, starting under control and then becoming faster and more explosive. Second, check the player's body position. The shoulders should stay slightly in front of the hips, so the player keeps moving forward instead of leaning back. Third, pay attention to the last step. This breaking step should be strong and controlled because it is essential for converting speed into jump height. And finally, watch the arm swing. The arms should move naturally with the approach and then drive powerfully upward to support the jump. Good timing between the steps and the arm action is key. There are also some common mistakes that coaches should watch for. Some players stay too upright during the approach, which makes it harder to move forward with speed and balance. Others use steps that are all the same size, instead of building from a controlled start into a more explosive finish. Another common mistake is a weak or missing breaking step, which often causes the player to jump too far forward instead of going up vertically. Coaches should also pay attention to the arm swing, because if the arms are too passive or too late, the player loses power and timing in the jump. Coaches should also be aware that left-handed players use the opposite footwork pattern, so they should not be forced into the rhythm of a right-handed approach. Simple coaching cues can help players understand the movement more clearly. For example, stay low and move forward. Small to big to close. Last two steps to the ball. Use your arms and break to jump up, not forward. For left-handed players, the same rhythm applies, but in the opposite order. To train this movement, we begin with a first exercise, in which 3 mats are placed on the court. The player performs the spike approach and makes sure that the second and third steps go over the mats. This helps develop the correct rhythm and spacing of the approach. At the same time, the player can also work directly on the arm swing, combining the footwork with the correct upper body movement. For left-handed players, the same exercise is done in reverse footwork. As a coach, pay attention to whether the player keeps the rhythm consistent, whether the body keeps moving forward, and whether the last 2 steps are clearly directed toward the ball. In the second exercise, the mats are placed between the net and the 3-meter line. The player performs the spike approach over the mat, then moves diagonally backward to repeat the approach again. For left-handed players, the footwork is again done in the opposite order. The focus is on maintaining the correct rhythm while adjusting body position and movement direction. This helps the player stay balanced, move efficiently, and repeat the approach with control. The arm swing remains important here as well, because it supports the jump and helps prepare the body for the attack. As a coach, look at the direction of movement, the quality of the footwork, and whether the player stays low and balanced during the transition backward and into the next approach. In the third exercise, the player performs the complete approach with a jump and full attacking arm action at the net. This makes the movement more game-like. The focus is now on combining the approach, the breaking step, the jump, and the arm swing into one smooth and explosive movement. Left-handed players perform the same complete movement, but again with the opposite step sequence. The player finishes in a strong attacking position and learns to perform the full spike approach with good timing and control. As a coach, focus on the coordination of the movement. The approach, takeoff, and arm action should all flow together naturally, so the player can attack with both power and balance. This progression is important. First, the player learns the rhythm of the steps. Then, the player repeats the approach while moving and adjusting position. Finally, the player performs the complete movement in a more realistic attacking situation. In this way, the player builds the technique step by step and learns how to transfer it into the game. A good spike approach is not just about speed. It is about rhythm, control, timing, and a powerful takeoff. When players master these elements, they can reach a higher contact point, improve their timing with the setter, and attack with more power, balance, and consistency.